All right. Live and direct weekly ritual from ghostcultmag.com. I am Keefy. Got you here on the Instagrams. Got you here on YouTube Live. I'm here with Lady Baphomet. We're doing all the things here this week as we bear down on the holidays and bring you another week of rock and metal news courtesy of ghostcultmag.com. I'm glad to be here. We'll wait for some of you to join. Hopefully you will join in. I did promote this a bit this week, just trying different things. We're doing these live every week until the end of the year, maybe into the new year. We're still judging the success of the live format. Lady Baphomet and I are judging. We will see. We're judging you also. Not in a gatekeepery, name 3 songs on your shirt kind of way, but just judging our audience and testing things out and seeing what works. Glad to be here with all y'all. This is our weekly show. This is also a fundraiser. I'm going to mention this several times during the show, so I apologize in advance if we get repetitive, but this is a fundraiser. We're running a fundraiser now through the end of the year, trying to replace gear that was broken at a festival by accident. We did recoup some money for the gear, but not nearly enough. We got maybe 1/4 of the value of the gear that was totally destroyed. Ghost Cult, in case you didn't know, you've heard me say before, if you watch this channel, we are a small business and we appreciate your support, but we need some help. So hopefully some people kick in. There's a link in our bio where you can donate. There's a link in our description on YouTube. You can donate to us safely via PayPal. You can also use Ko-fi to buy us a coffee or just kick in a buck or two, whatever you can do. I know it's a tough time in the world, as we say every week. I have my seltzer here. I should do these with beer, but I haven't been. I already have one podcast where I drink a beer, and so that is de rigueur for me to drink a beer during these things. My bed is not very well made over there in the corner. Sorry about that. To you on YouTube. IG, luckily, you can only see this, me and Lady Baphomet. But we're here to bring you the weekly rock and metal news, New Music Friday, and a bunch of other things. So lots of stuff to discuss and share. I'm super happy to be here with you. I appreciate you all. And thanks for being here. I will put Lady Baphomet down for a minute. I may pick her back up later for some moral support. We'll find out. Alrighty. The layout, the outline of the show, if you're new here, is the greeting, the introduction, the pleasantries. Jim Lindbergh, what's up from Pennywise? Good to see you. Really appreciate that interview with you earlier in the year. People should check out Jim's solo album, which is amazing. His solo music is amazing, as well as Pennywise. Forever on tour, it seems. So yeah, we're here for our rock and metal news show. Usually we do the pleasantries, the introductions. We then run down the features we have here this week at Ghost Cult, usually our interviews, special articles, features, etc. Then we do the festival and tour news updates, very popular. We've considered spinning this off to our own show. We have yet to, but we might. Not totally sure yet. Then the regular tours, just tours announced, updates with tours, sometimes some cancellations, changes in tour lineups with health and stuff. We run down, we bullet point the biggest stories of the week or the biggest stories going on right now in all of the music scene, rock, metal, punk, subgenres of rock, metal, and punk, whatever you do. We usually pull something from our mailbag, something we were sent, something we unbox, something we've enjoyed that you can also maybe enjoy, recommendations, suggestions, etc. And then the outro, the farewell, the pleasantries, that's what we do. That's what we do here at the Weekly Ritual. We run down those things. So give me 1 second. I am testing out new software that may bring into the process next week where we have all kinds of, at least on YouTube, it might be a little more exciting. A big shebang of stuff, bring in visuals, bring in concert tour posters, band photos, maybe play little videos. We're still working out the kinks on that. I didn't want to go forward with that until I was 100% sure I could pull it off smoothly. So it's going to take some practice. And I'm a really an anal retentive perfectionist, which is a bad thing to be as a creator, apparently. You have to just be, apparently quick and dirty is a better thing to do than just, try to be a perfectionist. But I'm a bit of a perfectionist. It's hard for me. So yeah, before further ado, let's just see what's up. What's up? Just losing shit right here. Awesomeness. Good job. We'll just put this down here for a minute. It's a fun thing for a few minutes from now, but I'll just move it for now because it keeps toppling over. I need one of those stands for my Funkos. Let's see what else. All right. So, I got my script here. We're going to do the old read right off the script. I got to make it the big ass font because I can't see shit anymore. Thank you all for joining. Thanks for being here. Again, here at Ghost Cult's weekly rock and metal news show, The Weekly Ritual. I am Ghost Cult Keefy at Ghost Cult Keefy if you want to find me on Instagram and Twitter. We're here on Instagram Live. We are here on YouTube Live. Come join us. Drop a comment. Ask me a question. If you, again, this is also a fundraiser. Anybody who donates to our fundraiser, feel free to shoot me a question. Ask me anything you like. Ask me anything you like anyway. I like to be a font of information going on in the rock and metal world. That's what I like. So I got my screens here, my script here. So if I look off camera, I'm not insane. I'm just following my script here. So first things first, we have to dedicate this show to several people. First off, first and foremost, Dimebag Darrell was murdered 18 years ago. Dimebag Darrell of Pantera. There'll be some Pantera news later. Big story of the week, the last few weeks. But Darrell was murdered on December 8th, 2004 by a deranged gunman at the Alarosa Villa Club, which is no longer in existence in Columbus, Ohio. It's now an apartment development. But Darrell was murdered and taken from us far too soon. And we celebrate his life as much as we mourn his loss. We celebrate his life. Carpenter Corpse, what a cool name you have on Instagram. Shout out to you and your cool name. Very cool. So yeah, we miss Darrell and we talk about him all year long, not just on the anniversary of his passing. It's also coincidentally the anniversary of John Lennon's murder, December 8th, 1980. I remember where I was when it happened. I was a little boy, and we were watching Monday Night Football in my home, and Howard Cosell announced that John Lennon had been killed and murdered, which was horrifying to hear on national television. My mom burst out crying. It was wild, and I never forgot it. It's 42 years for John Lennon and 18 for Darrell, almost 20. It's very sad. Speaking of my mom, can't let the day go by without mentioning that my mom's birthday would have been today. Rest in peace, rest in power, and made me who I am today. I think she would have been very proud of me and the things that I've done. And it sucks. It sucks. She passed away when I was 25, and I never really got over it. So rough. Yes, also Jet Black from the Stranglers. Thank you for that shout out on Instagram. Appreciate that. Yeah, it's a rough one. It's a rough one. Not gonna lie, it's been a rough day around the HQ here. But we start the show every week with if anyone has passed away, if there's any anniversaries of such nature, we just want to remember them and keep these people's spirits alive in our hearts and our memories. So let's see what else. If you want to jump over to YouTube, feel free to drop us a super chat or a thanks, which is a minor donation up to any amount. Again, this is a fundraiser. We are trying to raise money for some gear we had destroyed by accident at a festival we covered. It really sucks, but we're doing our best with a backup system and backup things. Luckily for these social media networks. Anywho, features this week here at Ghost Cult, we've got a bunch as we barrel toward the end of the year. We interviewed Nick from Bayside in the studio. They are in the studio recording new music for another release next year, but they have a brand new release out right now, The Red, a short EP. And, Bayside is basically at this point, legendary pop punk band. Really fun interview, really good interview in depth for a short span of time where Nick talked about just the history of Bayside and observations about the current punk scene and emo scene. And, maybe they were never, like when we were young, he's like, we never went away. We never broke up. So we didn't have to reunite somewhere. We're still here. So it was really cool. I don't want to spoil it for you, but that's a little spoiler right there. Nick is very cool if you like pop punk and Bayside. Very cool stuff. Also this week, over on the Ghost Cult Magazine podcast and running right after this video is over, Johan Lanqvist of Candlemass joined me for a really spirited, interesting conversation all about their brand new album, Sweet Evil Son, out now on Napalm Records. Candlemass, one of the greatest doom metal bands of all time. Of all time. It's not even up for debate. Of all time. Also this week at Ghost Cult Mag, we've got a feature running the top 50 death metal albums of 2022 as curated by our veteran staffer, our scribe emeritus. He's not really retired, but he comes and he goes like the night, like the fog. He rolls in, drops some knowledge, and then rolls back out. Richard Benton. So the best 50 just gnarly underground death metal albums, some popular ones, some bands I never heard of. So I get an education every time I read a post by this guy. So very cool stuff. There's still our album of the year stuff from the last couple of weeks, as voted on by the staff of Ghost Cult. We counted down from 75 to 1. We have a podcast series. I did a video here on YouTube. I'll link up above when this is over on YouTube. You can check it out in our feed. It's one of our reels on Instagram and TikTok. Follow us on these social medias, by the way. If you're not subscribed, give us a sub on YouTube, subscribe on Instagram, subscribe on TikTok. We're almost at 1,000 on TikTok. I think once we get to 1,000, we can live stream these shows on TikTok. I might go for it. We'll find out. But yeah, thanks for being here. We appreciate you. What else is going on this week? We also have our holiday gift guide. If you haven't already bought your holiday presents for the metalhead or rocker in your life or for yourself, we made a special gift guide just for rock and metal fans. You can check that out. Also in the description. Also in our link tree in our bio. Also, speaking of podcasts, 2 more things of note. I am the co-host of the Glacially Musical Podcast, a podcast that is a sister entity to Ghost Cult, hosted by Nick Cameron of the Glacially Musical blog. Every week, we drink beers, we hail Satan, we talk about vinyl nerdism, we deep dive into bands' histories, we unbox cool stuff, we wear fun shirts. Sometimes Nick wears fun socks. We drink craft beer and we nerd out about it. Glacially Musical Podcast. To end the year, we're doing a short series on Kiss. 2 Kiss nerds talking about Kiss. Might be interesting, might not be. We are definitely huge fans, but also we'll give them shit when they deserve it, which is a lot. And, just a lot of fun, interesting, quick and dirty deep dive into the early years of Kiss. Just some interesting stuff to end the year. We just finished a series on Slipknot, in case you're curious, and did a huge dive into Slipknot's early career and first 10 years. So that was a really good one. Before that, other things. So there's that. And also, I was a guest this week on a podcast, as Ghost Cult has hit 10 years this year. I'm making the rounds doing some podcast appearances, and I was a guest on the C Squared Music Podcast, which you see here shared at Ghost Cult. Let's say we're not quite an official sponsor of the podcast. We probably are basically a sponsor of the podcast by hosting their podcast. We are the host of their podcast. This is C Squared Music. It's a PR and music services firm that's out there in the world. Good supporters of Ghost Cult. We support them back. We've covered some of their bands. And I was a guest on the podcast with host Curtis and Aaliyah, and they asked me a bit about Ghost Cult and our history, but also I did a deep dive on some interesting stuff about the music industry you might not know as a fan that affects the music business, that affects actually how you see shows, and even how concerts and touring is done. So you definitely don't want to miss that. And you want to follow that podcast if you have a band or you make music, because they give free advice every episode about your music career. I don't know how many free resources there are out there in the world where you can learn about the music business, but that's one of them. We'll be bringing you some music business coaching content in 2023, gratis, as in free. So stay tuned for that. That was a little spoiler alert for what's coming up soon. Okay. We'll just check out anybody over on the tubes. Nobody yet. All right. I'm so lonely. Anyway, that's a little Team America comedy for you there. Sometimes you get a song when you get the Ghost Cult Weekly Ritual news show. Festivals. Kicking off the festival and news coverage this week. the Decibel Metal and Beer Fest has got their secret TBD band announced. Gorguts has not played a show in 6 years, and they're going to play a special performance at April's Decibel Metal and Beer Fest in Philadelphia at the Fillmore, a venue I have been to many times and love. And they are going to be playing material from their 1991 album Considered Dead and their 1998 album Obscura. Only those albums are going to get performed. Gorguts hasn't played in 6 years. I really hope this is the start of a run, of a comeback for Gorguts, and not a, it's been no speculation about them, but just they've been away. So hopefully this is the start of something big. I hope. Fingers crossed. Please, we need them to come back. What else in festival news? Furnace Fest, the big hardcore fest we were mentioning last week, they announced their first bunch of bands. Now they added a bunch more bands. So already added to the festival, brand new for Furnace Fest in September. Sorry, I brain farted. I was like, when is it? It's September. There's so many things to keep track of here. Strife, Drain, One King Down, already announced. Besides those bands, Between the Buried and Me, Training for Utopia, Gorilla Biscuits, my personal favorite New York hardcore band ever, Callous Boys, who we interviewed recently, and Foreign Hands, and many more to get named soon. Taking place this weekend in Eindhoven, the Netherlands, near the original founding place of Ghost Cult Mag, is the Eindhovem Metal Meeting, the annual metal festival taking place every year. And this year's got a killer lineup with Suffocation and My Dying Bride and Unleashed. So many killer bands taking place Friday and Saturday. Very cool for the Eindhovem Metal Meeting. Welcome back. Desert Fest London announced their first batch of bands for 2023. There's usually 4 or 5 Desert Fest. Hey, Coltaine, we just shared we're going to share some news about you in a second. Nice for being here. Desert Fest London announced their first batch of bands for 2023, including Corrosion of Conformity, Boris, Crowbar, King Buffalo, Weed Eater, Dawn Raid, and many more. Desert Fest, always a fun time. They also have Desert Fest Belgium. They also have Desert Fest Berlin. They have Desert Fest New York, all coming back, I think, in 2023. So very exciting stuff. ArcTanGent Festival, we just covered. We just covered ArcTanGent Festival, and they've already started announcing the bands for next summer's ArcTanGent Fest in the UK, technical death metal, metalcore, some, different shades of metal and hardcore metal. Very cool stuff. They have announced a bunch of new bands, including the 68, High Lung, one of our favorite bands ever. Many of you have come to our social medias because we interviewed High Lung and had one of the biggest interviews ever with High Lung. Soon to be approaching 100,000 views on YouTube. So very proud of that. Also, Pupil Slicer, one of the best death metal bands out there. There's so many bands. So Birds in Row, and The World is a Beautiful Place, and I'm No Longer Afraid to Die, and Taki Horror. So just very cool bands added to ArcTanGent Festival. Stay tuned for more news on that festival from us. Brutal Assault Festival, also next summer in Czech Republic at Fortress Josefov, a metal festival that takes place inside an old battle fortress. How metal is that? As metal as humanly possible. They just added a bunch of new bands. I'm going to read off a short list of them. Agnostic Front, Brand of Sacrifice, Cabal, Our Homies in Capra, Converge, Crowbar, Death Before Dishonor, I Hate God, Get the Shot, Malevolent, Shadow of Intent, Slapshot, and more coming to that festival. So killer. It's usually like 150, 160 bands over 4 days in that fortress. Wild stuff. Brutal Assault Festival. Now we get to the regular ass tours and festivals. That's what it says on the script, regular ass tours and festivals. That is what's new. That is what's happening. That's what we're doing now. Def Leppard and Motley Crue, if you were not already sick of these guys, they are coming back for a huge world tour. They did it the US and North America in 2023. Now they're doing South America, European festivals, European headline shows. They've added a handful of US tour dates. They already had 2 dates in February in Atlantic City. And now they've added a little mini run of tour dates in August with Alice Cooper opening. Pretty cool. So look out for that. Skid Row, who has a killer brand new album out. The gang's all here on Ear Music. I just interviewed Snake Sabo. Be on the lookout for that coming to the channel soon. And Skid Row is going to tour with Buck Cherry for a lot of 2023. They're going to be supporting this record with a full tour and a lot of dates. So very, very exciting stuff. Silverstein has announced a huge headline tour. They're still supporting their current album, Misery Made Me. And, with Dayseeker, See You Space Cowboy, and One Step Closer. So one of the best metalcore records of 2022 was Misery Made Me by Silverstein. We have an interview here on the channel with Silverstein. Very cool stuff. Also announced today at Ghost Cult, Coltaine, who's here in the chat on Instagram, along with Kariti, one of our favorite artists ever. Sort of, Coltaine is like a psychedelic doom band, and Kariti is like a doom folk artist. And they're teaming up for a co-headline tour of Europe this spring. Very exciting stuff. We're going to see what the dates look like and if we can catch one of those dates with our team out in Europe. But super exciting stuff for two very up-and-coming artists. Especially excited if Kariti is going to release some new music. Coltaine, I'm checking out more of your stuff now. Thanks for hanging out with Ghost Cult, and thanks for letting us announce your tour today. Very fun stuff. Papa Roach, Falling in Reverse, and Hollywood Undead are teaming up yet again for another leg of a tour this year, coming in early 2023. Limp Bizkit has finally rebooked their shows they canceled when Fred canceled due to health issues last year. Opening up for them will be Wargasm and Black Gold. Wargasm, not the Wargasm from Boston. That's the thrash metal band from the 80s and 90s, but the new metal band Wargasm. Bands, take some personal advice from me, and a newer Wargasm band is just fine. Nothing against them, but Google Metal Archives. Check these sources out before you pick a band name that's already been out there in the world. Even if they're not together anymore, even if they were never big, just come up with your own name. Just my 2 cents, come up with your own name. That's what I think. That's what I think and feel. But nothing against the new Wargasm. I'm sure they're just fine. Whispering Studio, how you doing? Thanks for being here. Mr. Bungle kicks off their sort of comeback tour, their first tour date since their mini tour in 2020. Mike Patton has had some mental health problems. He's talked openly about. He was worried he would never be able to tour again. They're about to kick off a South American tour tonight, and they have announced that the Night They Came Home live concert, which was their album release mini live concert event that was live streamed in 2020, that is now free for the next week on their YouTube. So I think that's super exciting and fun. If you can't be there in person to see them on tour, hopefully they continue to tour. Joaquin is here. Joaquin Carcass, what is up? Haven't seen you in a long time, pal. Good to see you. I hope you're well. But we're doing the weekly Ritual Metal and News show. I'm running down festivals and concerts and tours. We already announced some of our feature content for the week that we put out. This is also a fundraiser for anybody who's watching. If you want to chuck us a couple of dollars, the link is in the description. The link is in our bio. Donate to us on PayPal. Donate to us on Ko-fi and help us out. We really appreciate it. We had some of our gear destroyed at a music festival, and it super sucks. We are out about $4,000. We did recoup some money for our gear, but just not nearly enough to replace it properly. So that sucks. What else is going on? In some cancellations, Anthrax has pulled out of Bloodstock Open Air for next summer. It was very highly anticipated that they would be one of the headliners of the festival. Maybe not the top 3 bands, but the next row of bands on the poster, the second level down. They have canceled due to logistical issues. I suspect it has to do with Charlie Benante playing drums in Pantera all next year. So he probably can't do Bloodstock. It kind of sucks. But, oh well, what are you going to do? It happens. Hopefully, Anthrax, somewhere in there, will be working on their new album that we've been waiting for. That Metal Photog, what's up? Thanks for joining us. How you doing on Instagram? I'm also on YouTube. As I said, this is Ghost Cult's weekly live stream, the weekly Ritual Rock and Metal News show. We run down festivals. We talk about tours. We do a download, a dump of current metal and rock news. That's what we do here. Also in cancellations, Aerosmith has canceled the final 2 shows this weekend of their Las Vegas residency. I don't want to quite call it a failure, but Steven Tyler has had many health problems, and he is unable to perform. So the band has canceled the residency. And the Goat and Your Mom joined. What's up, the Goat and Your Mom? And, it's tough. It's tough when you get older. These guys are like 70-something years old. And I remember seeing an interview last year where, a member of the band said, I don't know if we're ever going to be able to tour heavily ever again because we're just all too old with health problems. Steven Tyler's had his health problems. Tom Hamilton beat cancer. Joe Perry's had heart problems, faints on stage sometimes. It's like, Brad Whitford was like, I don't know if I want to tour ever again, like 100, 200 dates a year. So go see your heroes when you get a chance. I know people are, go see underground bands also. Go see new bands. I don't know who the new greatest bands will be in the next 20 years, but go see your heroes. Go see bands you're a fan of now. Don't wait because, they're dropping like flies, or at the very least canceling shows. Bands not canceling shows are a cheap trick, but they are playing without legendary guitarist Rick Nielson, who's had some medical problems. And so they have, got a replacement in for him, and they're touring without him because they don't want to break these commitments. But Rick is convalescing, and hopefully we'll be back to full strength soon. That is all the tour news for the week. If you missed it and you just joined, you can always watch the rebroadcast of this. Alrighty. The biggest news of the week, it's inescapable. Pantera, again, at the top of the show, we paid tribute to Dimebag Darrell. I know people have very mixed emotions about Pantera being called Pantera, supporting Philip, Zach, and Rex for various indiscretions over the years. We got some shit on Twitter about it. And here on Instagram, again, I don't get it, but, if you don't have a society based on, learning to forgive people, you never get forward progress as a society. I understand some people are unforgivable. Some, pedophilia, child murder, abuse and torture. These things are not forgivable. Other things, I'm not saying to be lenient. I'm just saying you got to judge in a case-by-case basis sometimes. Pantera played their first shows last weekend at Mexico's Hell in Heaven Fest. By all accounts, it was awesome. We shared some of that news. A lot of people are still angry about it. At least the estate of Vinnie Paul and Charlie Benante have come forward and said, listen, this is a tribute. We are not trying to be Pantera. So no one can replace the brothers, but they're going out. They played what I thought was a very good set. People are mad that Zakk Wylde is not copying Dimebag Darrell note for note, even though he probably could. Zakk Wylde is a guitar legend and guitar god in his own right. When you see him play Jimi Hendrix on the Jimi Hendrix Experience Tour, he's doing it the Zakk way. Whenever he's played like a Van Halen thing, he'll play Eruption, he plays it his way. So if you were expecting, for some reason, Zakk Wylde to play it Dimebag's way with Dimebag's gear, he's got some of Dimebag's stuff. He's got Grady Champion came out and, worked with Zakk so he could cover the rhythms and figure out things like, Dimebag used a noise gate and Zakk never does because his guitar is never really off. It's always on and going. And Darrell's style, literally he built like his effects performances into his playing style, into his rhythm style. So, I don't know why people expected it to sound exactly like Pantera. I would say for, 50-something-year-old guy, Philip sounds pretty good. I thought Charlie did a great job on the drums. Rex is Rex, So I thought it's really good. I think it's good for people to get to hear these Pantera songs performed a little bit better live. There was a video tribute on constantly to the brothers. So, I don't have a problem with it. If you don't like it, you can not go or not watch it or be mad at it. You can just not like it. My dear friend Rebecca is here. What's up, Rebecca? How are you doing? On Instagram, you're watching the Weekly Ritual news show. Normally we used to pre-record these and just air these and then post a small version of it to Reels and a little teaser on TikTok. And now I'm doing these live here with a webcam and my cell phone and just doing the best we can. Just doing the best we can with what we've got. That's all we can do. I'm wearing my festive Santa hat because the holidays are coming and we're just trying to uplift this sometimes dark day. Also in the music news this week, Twisted Sister is going to get inducted into the Metal Hall of Fame this January. Every January, the Metal Hall of Fame has a ceremony and a concert in Agora Hills in California. It's Southern California, near LA. And Twisted Sister in particular is going to get inducted by Steve Vai and Mike Portnoy, two Long Island guys who were obviously hella inspired by Twisted Sister, also getting into the Metal Hall of Fame. Foreigners singer Lou Gramm. Raven, the legendary new wave of British heavy metal band, British, sometimes American. Shred guitar legend Chris Imperletti. Vinny, and I think also Vinny Appice's new band is going to play from Black Sabbath and Dio. Screen Taker, featuring vocalist Jim Crean, who you might know from Carmine Appice's band and Vinnie Vincent Invasion, and Tony Franklin, sometimes who played with The Firm and Jimmy Page and David Gilmour. Pretty cool band. They also do an on-stage honor sometimes ad hoc in the open air. So that's a really cool thing. The Heavy Metal Hall of Fame. Not too shabby. Let's see what else. Led Zeppelin is going to celebrate the 15th anniversary of their last reunion, maybe their last ever reunion, the Celebration Day concert and DVD video that was the result of that. So they played together last in 2007. They reunited. They headlined a charity concert, and then they recorded that, put out a live album and a DVD called Celebration Day, the 15th anniversary of which is this weekend. And now that is going to be live streamed for free on their YouTube, which you can go check out. We'll link it in the description. Chances are Led Zeppelin is never getting back together again in any way, shape, or form. Robert Plant is not interested. Jimmy Page would like to have done a tour. They tried out other singers to maybe do a tour with them, like Steven Tyler and Miles Kennedy from Slash's band and Alter Bridge, but it never took hold. It's just kind of a shame, but all right. Sometimes you got to let things go. Danny Carey of Tool is doing court next week in Kansas City for it's almost a year ago, where he got in an altercation at the airport there, where he ended up getting arrested. It was on TMZ. He's like, "Do you know who I am? I'm the drummer of Tool. You know, we all have bad moments at the airport. I've had my share." And he was pretty inebriated, and he claimed they assaulted a TSA person or his airport worker, but assault is a strong word. Maybe just push them. He was very drunk. No excuses, though. You can't behave badly and get away with it, no matter who you are. So we'll see what happens with Danny. Chances are he's going to just get a slap on the wrist and a fine. I don't think he's going to do actual jail. Interesting stuff going on in the band Journey. I am not a huge fan historically of the band Journey, but let's just talk about them. They've been having a very public feud between the two leaders of the band, Neil Schon and Jonathan Cain. The keyboard player Neil is the legendary co-founder of the band and, lead guitar god and songwriter and manager of the band for a long time. And Jonathan Cain is the co-manager of the band. He's a main lyricist. He's been writing the majority of their songs for the last 25 years, co-writing at least. And so they've been beefing a little bit in the press. They, just a couple of years ago, had a huge lawsuit against them where they had to kick out original members and replace them, and they kind of restructured the band, and these two guys were running the business of the band. And then Jonathan Cain recently put out a Journey credit card without apparently permission of Neil or anyone else. And so Neil was like, "Listen, you can't do that." And Jonathan is like, "Well, you also did some things wrong with the management of the money." And then Neil went in the press and was like, "Wouldn't it be cool if the original keyboard player of Journey came back for a tour? Greg Raleigh, who hasn't been in the band in many years. I don't even know if he was interested in coming back in the band." So there's like a lot of weird backstabbing openly in the front stabbing, if you will, in the press. But apparently they just hired Def Leppard's manager, Mike Kobayashi, and he is now going to run the band. So we'll stay tuned. There's a lot of drama. I'm not a big Journey fan. I know people love that band. They got the hits. We've all been in a bar where everybody starts singing those songs or karaoke or something, but I'm not a huge fan, but interesting nonetheless. Interesting. Boris, one of the greatest doom metal bands of all time, has just surprise dropped their third record of 2022. Ragin' Rosie is here. Ghost Cult Scribe Ragin' Rosie is here. What's up, Ragin' Rosie? Good to see you. Happy holidays. So Boris has shared a brand new single and a video. They got a brand new album out, Fade. They celebrated 30 years in 2022, and they put out 3 new records. Unbelievable. Great band. And as we mentioned, they're going to be playing Desert Fest London, and they have touring booked, I'm sure, throughout 2023. We've yet to hear. Devildriver has parted ways with drummer Austin Diamond. The band's been kind of on, kind of a hiatus despite putting out a record 2 years ago. They recently let their founding bassist, John Miller, rejoin the band. Piercing Ken is here, my man, Piercing Ken from piercingmetal.com. What is up, bro? I have like 3 of my favorite people in the world in the chat on Instagram. What is up? What is up? What is up? So, Devildriver's got a brand new drummer, Davier Perez. I don't know much about him, honestly, but he put out a statement that he's super stoked to be joining the band. Cold Chamber is making a comeback in 2023. I was under the impression Devildriver was putting out a new album and supposed to tour. Haven't heard much about that yet, but I understand there's some news coming imminently beside these lineup changes. So fingers crossed to get some new Devildriver news. I was a big fan of their last album. They did kind of a quasi-country reimagining metal record that I liked a lot. I think Des Fafara is very interesting and various, multi-talented vocalist, and he could do just about anything he wants. Avatar, the metal band, not the movie, has a new album coming out, Dance Devil Dance, coming out on their own label, Black Waltz Recording, through their new deal with the 30 Tigers label, major label from Nashville. And they dropped a brand new video today, The Dirt I'm Buried In. Very cool, visually striking, as Avatar always does. They play maniacal, carny circus clowns, right? And they always do a very good job visually in everything they do. So super excited for the new Avatar album. Hey, Keefy. Hiya, Keefy. Hiya, Keefy, or Hiya, Keefy. I get it. Puns. I don't have too many. Let's see what else. If you're a fan of Municipal Waste, they're on tour this week on the East Coast with High on Fire. And Dave Whitty, the drummer, his mom, who's like 70-something years old, did a stage dive into the crowd during the show. Municipal Waste is always a fun time. A lot of stage divers and crowd surfers and just general bedlam. Same thing with High on Fire. But yeah, Dave Whitty's mom is a beast, just like Dave. Legend of drumming, played in death metal bands 35 years ago. Now he's in Municipal Waste. He's in a bunch of other bands. He's got a vegan food truck and a vegan restaurant, I think, in the Richmond area. Killer Dave Whitty, just a killer dude. Dope has dropped a brand new music video from their upcoming new album. Best of Me is out now, starring UFC fighter Juliana Killer Miller. Dope's new album, Blood Money Zero, is the sequel to Blood Money Part 1. I don't know the counting scheme here, but, math, not the strong suit of many of these guys, nor is reading. But Dope, cool, fun band. Looking forward to their new music in 2023. Let's talk for a second before I continue the news. Ghost Cult has a new affiliate partner that you should check out. If you are a content creator, if you are here on YouTube, I know you may be watching this on Instagram. Maybe someday there'll be an Instagram version of this, but for the YouTube crowd, vidIQ is video intelligence for your YouTube channel. They have a free version, so you don't have to ever pay. But they also have a paid version that is really deep and rich with interesting stats and facts. I got Piercing Ken into it. I'm deeply into it as a marketing person, as a social media manager in my day life when I'm not doing Ghost Cult. vidIQ will help you learn insights and tactics and actual things you can do to improve your followers, make your videos better, get traction on YouTube, actually get your videos seen more. So check out the link in the description and sign up for vidIQ with our affiliate code. That helps us keep the channel going. I think it gives us money off on our bill from our pro bill. I don't necessarily think it's going to be a windfall of money, but these little things all add up and help. Once again, this is a fundraiser. We're raising money to help replace our broken gear. Links are in the description, in the bio, etc. Use our affiliate links. You donate to us $1 or $2. It all helps. Continuing on with the news. Angelo Moore of Fishbone, the great Angelo Moore, is the subject of a brand new documentary called Forevermore, which is out now. It was doing the festival circuit and winning all kinds of awards. And now it's on Amazon, streaming on Amazon Prime. So check this out. I'm going to check it out. I'm a huge Fishbone fan, and I cannot wait to see it. Angelo is one of the most compelling and interesting guys in the whole music world. And I'm looking forward to hopefully some new Fishbone music at some point too. What else is here in the news this week? Not too much else. Let's do the New Music Friday and then the mailbag, and then we're out. New Music Friday releases coming out today, December 9th, include Colonial Wound, Crosses, which is the sort of electronic music supergroup from Chino from Deftones and Sean Lopez of Far. I just reviewed that album, that EP on Ghost Cult Mag. You can check it out right now. Let's see. Desperate Living, Gomorrah, Hailstorms Back from the Dead Deluxe Edition, which has extra tracks and covers and things. Lionheart, Welcome to the West Coast, Part 3, which has a lot of guest appearances from Jamie Josta of Hatebreed and Ice-T of Body Count. Let's see what else. Pussifer's album was pushed to the spring, so that's not coming out now. Queens of the Stone Age vinyl reissues, Like Clockwork and Villains. Ritual Death self-titled. Rob Arnold from Chimera's solo album, Magnitude. I'm super interested in this. I have yet to hear it, but I'm definitely going to blast it out tomorrow. Liz is on Fire is here. What's up, Liz? And so, yeah, Rob Arnold's new album is coming out. There is a new vinyl, yet another Dope Smoker vinyl from Third Man Records. So very interesting. Third Man Records is basically the official home of the band Sleep. And they put out various cassettes and vinyl versions of all their albums. I think they had a deal in the past 10 years with Southern Lord that originally reissued those. And yes, dig my Santa hat for Christmas. Thank you, Liz. And so, yeah, Sleep on Third Man Records. If you don't have Dope Smoker already in your vinyl collection, you could add it now. Very cool. Thousand Below, a very up-and-coming band on the same label as Spirit Box. So very excited about those folks. Windrose, if you're into the goofy power metal stuff, has 2 reissues, Shadows over Ludathrun and Wardens of the West Wind. And the new album for Woods of Desolation, The Falling Tide, is out this week on Season of Mist. We've still got new records coming out. Still got some interesting new music to listen to every week. You know, thank you so much for the hat love, everybody. Mr. Files Band is here. Oh, super stoked. We reviewed that album and we were big fans. And of course, AMREP, which we just interviewed Thomas Hazelmeyer of Amphetamine Reptile Records, and we're super stoked to do that. If you had told younger Keefy 30-something years ago, one day you're going to interview the guy that put out the first Helmet record and Unsane and Cows and Melvins, I would have been like, nah, no way. But here we are. I interviewed that guy, and he was super cool. Check it out on the Ghost Cult Magazine podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts. So make sure I'm not missing anything else. I don't think so. Obscura has a new video out for the song Heritage. They put out a new record a couple of years ago. I think we'll be seeing Obscura tour the world next year. And yeah, that is about it for the news this week. I'm going to hit the unboxing. Haha, for real. I'm going to hit the unboxing, and then we're going to say goodbye. So let's see what I got in the mailbag this week. In the mailbag. Interestingly enough, this address is from Sisters in Christ, New Orleans, Louisiana. What did I get myself into? Let's find out. Oh, I already opened the box, because cutting open the box on camera is a pain in the ass. I know what this is. I ordered a big box of stuff from the band Thou. This is from Sacred Bones Records, probably. And I'm a huge fan of Thou. Thou is one of the coolest bands in the world. They did a co-album and an EP with Emma Ruth Rundle a year and a half ago that was absolutely spectacular. I don't want to lose anything. Here we go. I think this was a sale that I picked up months and months ago. And I never opened it because time. I don't have any. This is a collected stuff, an LP of Thou things from 2009 to 2002, a primer of holy words. And yeah, it's got really cool track listing. Cover songs of the Yeah Yeah Yeahs, Pearl Jam, Minor Threat, Alice in Chains, Neil Young, and more. That is right. This is their infamous covers. They have then gone on to do special cover shows at places like Roadburn that we have covered. Said to be some of the best shows of all time, and they did it again this year. So We'll see. But yeah, I haven't opened it up. I don't think it's an extra special colored vinyl or anything, but very cool to have this into my collection. I'm a massive Thou fan. Let's see what else I got in the package, though. It came with some zines. I'm a big zine person. I came from the zine world. So here's Anti-Gravity zine, the photo issue. Very nice. Thank you. Here's another Anti-Gravity zine. And this looks like Death chilling out with some Hawaiian shorts on and drinking a beer with his Skype in a beach chair. Very cool. Behind a palm tree. Death takes a holiday, maybe. Here's some cool Thou coasters. These are really sturdy and nice. These will go well on my desk. I'll just leave one on the desk right here. There's another cool, here's Apocalypse 5000 Outlaw Comics. This looks like a graphic novel. This is fresh as hell. I don't remember even ordering this. Maybe they just threw it in. And here's a sticker they threw in. This really cool Thou sticker that looks like a vampire bat. Can you see it? Can you see it? Can you see it? It's awesome. It's so awesome. That's the Thou package. I also want to share with you this awesome thing I got this week as a gift. I don't think she's still here, but she was here earlier in the Instagram chat. Curtis Dunlap, my best friend in the whole world, and also a ghost cultist, is on the live on YouTube. What's up, Kurt? Love you, man. I owe you a phone call. Thanks for being here. Thanks for all the love and support. I needed it. This is incredible. I don't think Rebecca's here on Instagram anymore, but look at this. She went to the Funko store in Everett, Washington, and made a Funko of me. Her and Omar Cordy, our usual producer and photo editor here at Ghost Cult. Look at this thing. This thing is me. It's literally me. It's me. And he has a beer in one hand and a microphone in the other. It's pretty amazing. And I was pet sitting for Rebecca, and they gave me a sidekick, which is Rebecca's cat. Sort of Jax, sort of looks like Jax, Rebecca's cat. You can't really tell, but this is incredibly cool that there is a Funko of me now. It's got a trucker hat on. It's got the beard. Chucky's. This would be a very typical Keef uniform for the last few years. So I'm honored to now be a Funko along with my Funko collection. If you're on Instagram, you can't quite see the Funko collection, but if you're on YouTube, you can almost always see the Funkos here on the desk. And yeah, I just can't even believe I have this thing. I literally just freaked out seeing it. It was amazing. Anyway, that is our show. We are coming to the end of the wire here at the Ritual. I will bring back in Lady Baphomet to wave goodbye to everybody. Bye-bye. This badass thing you can buy from Twin Temple, a satanic plushy Baphomet. It is pretty incredible. It's got a cape. And I love Twin Temple. Shout out to them. One of the best bands of the last few years to come along. I'm a big fan. As we say every week at this juncture of the show, it's a tough time in the world. So please take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and stay as metal as possible. Thanks for being here and thanks for watching. I'm Keefy from Ghost Cult. If you can, please donate to our fundraiser. I really appreciate you all for being here, and we're out.